God damn
What is up, my Netgear fans? We are back again. Another Friday, another stream. Here to help you with your Netgear tech support issues. I'm joined with the dream team, Angelo,
it.
Darren, and Ben. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves for any of the newcomers. Angelo, you go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. I'm Angelo. I'm a senior interactive media specialist here at NETGEAR. So I manage pretty much day to day the YouTube channel, Night After Gaming, the Twitch channel, and honestly, if you follow any of our social accounts, there's probably a chance I had my hand on it at some point. That is me. Um, I'll pass it off to Ben.
Oh, well, I'm gonna pass it back to Darren because he's in between.
Oh, I guess with Michael not being here and we're the dream team, he must be the Isaiah Thomas of the world. But yeah, I'm Darren. I'm a technical support specialist and community moderator, and here to help with any tech questions that we have today.
And I'm Ben Acevedo, brand experience manager, Nighthawk Pro Gaming, and I'm here to answer any questions. Probably, I'm going to answer your questions on when is Duma 3.0 coming out, and then I'm going to not answer any questions on the teasers on any sort of new product. So that's what I'm doing today.
What about PS4 internet questions?
Oh, I'm gonna tell you that the Wi-Fi chip is not very good in the PS4 unless you have the Pro, and yeah, so I'm just gonna kick back. I think I answered all the questions that I'm gonna get today. So,
All right, well, you're ahead of the game, Ben.
boom.
And then
Yes.
lastly, I'm Alec. I'm an interactive media specialist here. I do web design and photography and graphic design for social. So, with that being said, that's the dream team without Michael. We might struggle a little bit because Michael's the all-knowing mastermind behind Netgear. He did let me know that he wants to let all of his fans know that he will be back. He will return.
We will be back.
Unfortunately, we're all
The
located
California
in,
wildfires have. So right now he was in that zone. So he has had to move out of there. Hopefully everything's okay. But yeah, we are definitely missing him and his expertise. But we did pick up Alec.
What's up? I'm Alec.
Sorry, I had more, but I just dropped it off. And we picked up Alec.
I probably know about a fraction of a percentage of what Michael knows, but we're gonna give it our all. And we have Christian behind the scenes on the Netgear account. He is also very knowledgeable. So Christian, if we appear to be struggling, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, just
and we take
bail us
no
out in the
offense.
chat.
Cool. So we have one question already, but in the meantime, Angelo, please try to think of some filler questions.
Cool.
How do I change my public IP address? And there is he has a profile picture. This is from Atomic Who that says gamer. So I'm gonna defer to Ben for this question, our resident gamer.
How do I change my public IP address? God, I actually.
It's controlled by the ISP, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to do it well. There is a way to do it yourself. I don't think you'll like the answer on how to do it. Most times the ISP, you have to contact them and have a good reason for them to changing your public IP address and really press to have it done. The way you could do it at home is typically if you just disconnect your modem for like 24 hours, 48 hours, it'll assign you a new IP address because yours will get taken when other modems boot up in your area. But a lot of times the ISP doesn't like changing IP addresses for you.
I would also say you could change it by VPNing.
True.
Yeah, we did have Dan mention that in the
oh shit
in the
sorry.
chat.
Oh
dear.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we did have Dan mention that.
We'll
in
bleep that out.
That's a common solution. I know if any of you guys watch YouTube, you're always seeing ads for like NordVPN and ExpressVPN. If any of those companies are viewing and would like to sponsor, let us know. But that's a good solution.
Yeah, that would probably be the easiest. But yeah, there's a reason. So there's a reason why it's not that easy to change your IP address, is because it's to keep track of what you're doing, IP address, and especially if you're doing shady stuff, you kind of
Yeah,
they kind of want to track
they
that
want to
kind
know.
of stuff.
All right, so luckily we don't need any filler questions. We got 3 coming in rapid
Boom, boom,
fire.
boom.
Let's see if we can knock these out. The first one is from Gareth. Says the DM200 VDSL modem now shown as end of life with retailers. So there's no Netgear VDSL modem available in the UK now. Why is that? So this is kind of, I'll try to keep the story short here. It is an older protocol that we are, trying to move past and retire. That doesn't negate the fact that a lot of people still are forced to use DSL, and it is unfortunate that it's not something that we're going to be supporting long term. Um, Something I would suggest, and something we've been kind of moving towards for people that need an alternative to a coax or a fiber connection, is LTE internet. So we just released a LTE. I put it away. I usually have the unit here with me. We just released an LTE compatible Orbi. So you would no longer be using internet from an internet service provider. You'd be using internet from somebody like Verizon, or I'm not sure what the carriers are in the UK, but it actually is typically a lot faster than VDSL. And you don't have to, work with an ISP anymore. I know sometimes they can be frustrating. I'm not sure if, LTE providers are any less frustrating in the UK, but that's an alternative that I would suggest. It is honestly going to be, in our opinion as a company, and we're taking the stance with our products, is a better option than VDSL. I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say about that.
Yeah, DSL is really getting kind of pushed out as a technology across the board, and that's why you're seeing a lot of like end of life, not only from us but other providers, retailers, manufacturers. But I would, I think that's a great suggestion. I even think that RM space A, or ARMA, has some hints about installing the Orbi with the MR hotspot. And see, it's that kind of things where people are trying to connect their Orbis to hotspots or the M1s, or that is where we really saw the need for the LTE router. We might as well just put it into the router rather than having you do a hotspot. Yeah, and I understand, Gareth, that like the UK has a little bit different um, needs. So there's with your providers, and most of the infrastructure, I think, is DSL, but I think that is trying to be changed.
Yeah, I'd say in the case where you can't switch to LTE, I would honestly go ahead and just use, I mean, if you can get your hands on a DM200, I think it's a better option than whatever your ISP is going to send you.
Yeah.
Our hardware quality is going to be better by the nature of us being a dedicated like network hardware company. However, it is being discontinued. So I would, if you can't get your hands on one, I would say just get something from your ISP and run a Netgear router with it. You'll probably get some sort of gateway that's like a modem router combo. I would set it to just be a modem, put it in bridge mode, and then connect a router.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like I said, it's just something that we're moving past technology wise as a company. It's like Apple getting rid of the headphone jack, it's just kind of becoming a technology of the past.
And it's becoming smaller and smaller of a market share.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yep. Unfortunately, it's technology in progress. That's what happens.
Not the most pleasing answer, but it's just kind of
Yeah.
kind of the reality of the direction we're going.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope that answered your question and gave you some options. Next question is from RMA. Are there any issues or handy hints for installing / running the Orbi RBK 753S to be driven by an AT&T Nighthawk MR? I believe 11,000 is the SKU that you are referring to. And this is something that I need some help from the Dream Team from. Is the Ethernet port on the M1 able to run as like a modem? You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. Okay.
There is a setting within the M1 to disable the DHCP client so
Gotcha.
that you're using the Orbi as your main router. So that would basically disable the wireless and the just the router functions on the EMR and make it a modem only.
Yeah.
Or there's the other option of keeping the MR as a modem and setting your Orbi as an access point for just your Wi-Fi in your home.
Gotcha. Okay. So those are two options.
There's
Yeah,
a follow-up.
live in a
They live in the
country
country.
and only have internet ISP service supplied by an AT&T LTE MR 1100 hotspot router. No DSL / UVerse. Well, I need another router between the two. So yeah, like Darren mentioned, you could use the M1 as your main router and have satellites coming from that, or you could use it as a modem and have the Orbi be your router. Personally, I think you're going to get a better. I mean, there's more antennas in the Orbi. It's just a higher spec as a router. I would suggest probably, if you don't want to go for something that has 3 satellites, I'm not sure what the size of your home is. You could even go for a 2-pack of the Orbi.
Yeah, I would go with the hotspot as a modem and then run everything off of the Orbi.
Kind of what I'm getting at. Long-winded answer.
Yeah, because the Orbi doesn't care where it's really getting the signal. It just is carrying that it's getting signal in, and then it's going to take over from there. While you can have that M1 just really kind of concentrating on getting the LTE signal in. So it's not having to push out at the same time. You're probably going to get a little bit more longevity out of it.
Yeah.
To back up that idea, so I do agree, RMA. I do remember you from the Orbi event that we actually did on Tuesday. So glad to hear that you came to the Friday show to ask questions on your Orbi product. So it will work. Darren, I'm going to actually toss you a question. Do we have any articles on exactly how to essentially make sure that that hotspot is only doing the modem things? I think you mentioned stabling DHCP on there. I want to make sure I get that terminology right.
I don't know if we have a KB on it. I went directly to the M1 user manual, and it's on page 54 on what you need to do to disable the DHCP. It's just a checkbox in the settings that you need to say, hey, this doesn't run the DHCP server. My router's going to do it.
I'll go ahead and look that up too.
Okay.
Yeah, and RMA, take a look at the Orbi 4G LTE advanced tri-band router, because if you're going to have to run a SIM card from AT&T, you can just stick that SIM card into the Orbi, and then you could just use the Orbi from there.
Yeah, and something I do want to note for you, just for the efficiency of your system, if you're going to be running a Wi-Fi 6 Orbi system through your hotspot, you're not going to be getting the Wi-Fi 6 technology throughout your home because it's all going to start. Well, I mean, if you use it as a modem, you will. But if you're using the M1 as your main router, just a note to really rule this option out. You're not going to be getting the Wi-Fi 6 technology throughout your home because you're going to be bottlenecked by the Wi-Fi 5 technology of the M1. So the satellites aren't going to be maxed. Same case with using the Orbi LTE. It is a Wi-Fi 5 unit. So take all that into consideration. When you're making these decisions, I think your best option is probably going to be running the M1 as just a modem and connecting everything to it as such. If you already have the 753, if you don't, and you wanted to use the M1 as the main router, I would suggest getting Wi-Fi 5 Orbeez. Just spend your money as intelligently as possible. Anything else? I think we.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you do use the M1 as your main modem, you just got to remember if you're leaving the house and taking that with you, which you can because you have an M1, which is really nice. I mean, that'd be great. It's your home Wi-Fi. It's your on your road Wi-Fi. You just got to go back and re-enable that setting to turn DHCP back on to use it on the road again.
Cool. Yeah, good point. Definitely lots to consider with running that setup. It's kind of a niche setup, but it's definitely something that can be really effective. I know that we do have one of our senior vice presidents uses an M1 to power her entire home. I don't even think she uses satellites. I think she just uses the M1. So it's super powerful kit. Okay, so it looks like he already has the 753. So yeah, I would definitely run those, use the M1 as the modem. So you'll be getting that Wi-Fi 6 technology to all the satellites, which is super ideal. Okay, so let's move on. I'm trying to keep track of who's got the next question in the queue. It looks like Sammy is the next question we've got. And he says, I have 2 sets of Orbi. I struggle to get them set up with my cable modem. I see that there is a firmware update. Will the Orbi system see the modem automatically after the firmware update? So follow-up question would be, is it a NETGEAR modem or is this something that you're getting from an ISP? If it's something from an ISP, there's a good chance that it is a gateway, which is kind of a modem router combo, and you're going to want to set it to be just a modem. It'll play nicer with the Orbi if you do that. Another thing to consider is just making sure you're using the right ports on each of them. You want to make sure that you're plugging your modem into your Orbi via the wireless LAN port. It should be yellow. Is that right? Is it yellow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the yellow one, right? Okay, so yeah, just confirm with us that those are both. Let us know. Follow up with us, and we'll try to help you out there.
So Samuel, I'm trying to kind of figure out exactly where you are within the process. I set up an Orbi before where essentially I got stuck on one time on the step on getting the Orbi to see the internet coming from the modem. So one thing that I realized was you want to make sure that, I forgot, it was something with the MAC address. I forgot exactly the symptom of it, but essentially what you want to do is when you're setting up the Orbi, before you do everything, turn off the cable modem. Honestly, like unplug it from power, unplug it from, actually just unplug it from power, and then also start fresh with the Orbi 2. So make sure that is completely turned off as well. And then plug in the cable modem, wait until all the lights come on, wait a few minutes, and then plug in the first router through Ethernet into the modem. Also wait a few minutes again, and then try the setup. And then essentially you just want to clear out the MAC addresses so that it doesn't try to get any interference with any other devices that might be talking to. That might be something to help you out here in terms of setting up your Orbi. But again, let us know where you are within that process, and we'll be able to kind of help you with the more information we get.
Yeah, it looks like he followed up and said that it is a NETGEAR modem, and he had the cables plugged in correctly. So I would definitely advise going with Angela's advice there.
Yep.
Because I remember when we set up that Orbi, it was a
But
long
you learn
process.
after doing, it's just that's like a very, I guess, common thing. I guess what I learned is no matter what, you want to just kind of just like make sure everything's kind of cleared out from your modem to your router. It's just the MAC address thing, technicality.
Cool. All right. So hopefully that helps you out. We're going to be on for 2 hours total. So we've got about another hour and 40 minutes here. So if you do want to go try something out, tinker with your setup and come back and let us know if it worked. We'll be here for a while. So let us know if we can help you out anymore. Cool. So next question is from Gyro. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Good afternoon, guys. 4 months ago, I bought the MK63, and I feel like I need to power cycle them once a week because it won't allow an iPad, laptop, or even my router to use the internet. My devices will connect, but will state that they don't have internet connectivity when all other devices on the Wi-Fi work fine. After the reboot, it works fine for another week until I have to power cycle again. That is a curious situation to be in. Sometimes these things can be kind of finicky. Curious to hear if you guys have any suggestions for him.
One is where is that router placed? It could be overheating. Also, how many devices are you connecting? And let's see, MK63.
It also could be an ISP issue. Maybe the modem
be.
drops every once in a while and reconnects, but the router isn't reconnecting to the modem after it has a drop. So that's why it's making you restart the router to get sync up with the modem again to get connection. You may want to look at your logs of your modem if you know how to log into the modem. And a good sign of that happening is in the logs. There's things called T3 and T4 timeouts. If you see a lot of those, there could be just a simple connection issue with the modem that you might need to get your ISP to come check out for you. It could be a line issue in your house or out on your road, stuff like that, or even a splitter, a cable splitter if you're running a cable connection in your home.
Yeah,
Just oh, sorry.
yeah. I mean,
You want me to go?
yeah. Sorry. It sounds like if it's happening like every single week on a specific day, it's probably a case of what Darren just mentioned, something that the ISP has scheduled, which is a little frustrating. But yeah, I know one thing with the MK60 systems is they're ambient cooled. So just to kind of speak to Ben's point, there's no fan in them. That's why there's so many vents on top, is so they can kind of just dissipate heat on their own. So definitely have it in an aerated space. That might not solve your issue. I think it's what Darren mentioned that's probably causing you problems. But for the health of your unit, definitely, especially with those, have them in an open spot.
Yeah.
And just firmware wise, just double check to make sure that you are updated to the latest firmware, just in case that there might be anything software related going on with it. And I'm not sure if you tried it before, and then this is usually kind of like the last step. Let's say, hey, you checked everything with modem, things are okay, whatever. You could do a simple reset and then move, or just essentially when you set it back up, make sure that you set it back to the same Wi-Fi name and password, and your devices will reconnect. That'll essentially be able to kind of like clean out the system and kind of start fresh, just so you're not running into these power cycles and reboots.
Yeah, and then he followed up and said, "Do we know the current firmware?" I don't know the exact version number, but go ahead and go into the settings of your router via routerlogin.net. If you type that into your URL, it'll pop up your router login portal. The default username should just be admin, and the default password should be password. See if you're able to go into the system settings and check for an update. And if there is an update, go ahead and install it. But yeah, I don't know the exact firmware version that we're on right now, but it should automatically detect if you do need to update your system if you go via the online portal. Okay, I think that should take care of his question. Feel free to follow up if you need any more help. We do have a returning viewer, Shady Joker 1. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in every week. Okay, and we have another question from Dong Seb, who says, "What kind of router can we use as of today's?" You can use any router. We have a lot. We have more than one. But if you're asking for a suggestion, I'm going to give my regular suggestion. Whatever your budget is, find the Wi-Fi 6 router in our lineup that works for you. That is the newest protocol. It's going to be the most future-proof. So that would be my suggestion if you're looking for a suggestion.
Yeah, it's wow. I don't want to be like kind of that. It's like when you go to your favorite restaurant and you're like, "Hey, what's good?" And then the person says everything is good. It's kind of like that, right? Everyone kind of has a different kind of situation, a different home layout, different size, different amount of devices connected to it. So what would help us is letting us know, hey, what are you specifically looking for? Some people have a bigger home, they need mesh. Some people have a smaller apartment, but they just want something really just like powerful and Wi-Fi 6 compatible. Some people don't care about that kind of stuff, but do encourage you, hey, yeah, just to echo Alec, check out our Wi-Fi 6 products. I think we're all here fans of the Wi-Fi 6 products, and at least personally for me, I use them. I use an RX 200, which powers a lot of the streams that I run every week, and I run it all wirelessly without really any internet issues. So, that's something that personally works for me. But hey, let us know what works for you or what you're looking for. You got about an hour and a half to let us know, and then we can help you out.
Totally.
Mhm.
Okay, we got another kind of situational specific question here from Hamad. And he says, guys, some advice. I plan to boost and extend the Wi-Fi network into a red brick house. Which is the best solution? Either multiple extenders for each section or an extender with a mesh network built in. So I'd say a mesh network, but if it's a brick house, you might have some problems with connecting your satellite in that house, depending on the distance. So I'd be curious to get a little more information from you
How many
on,
floors
yeah, how many
would be
floors?
that going up and down is going to be like some difficulty, but yeah.
The best solution.
Yeah,
Okay.
I read your question and I kind of read it as like it's a different building. Is this all within the same building? All these little details are going to help us make suggestions. So let us know kind of the physical scenario that you're in with this house, stories, square footage, and we can make the best suggestion. Also, something that we are driving to a lot on the website is the Orbi product selector. It's a great new feature that we have on our site that allows you to kind of dial in what you're using your internet for, and it gives you a suggestion. It looks like he says there's 2 floors, 5 bed.
So my hunch is, so this is all within one house, and you need Wi-Fi everywhere throughout the house, not just kind of where your router is located. The brick is going to add some difficulty just based on physics. It is a very hard surface to kind of get essentially these waves through it, right? But I would actually, my first hunch is Powerline. Typically, we want to always shout out mesh. Alec, you mentioned the Orbi product selector. It's really great, but if you have a really hard time penetrating through walls, I think Powerline is actually the best bet for that kind of situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I kind of want to jump on that. Is you could use the power line to get it from one level to the other level, and then use mesh on that floor.
Something I do want to note, though, he mentioned a red brick house, and then kind of followed up just now. It's a house in the UK. A lot of those homes in the UK, because it's an older nation, are older. So definitely take into consideration the quality of your power
Yeah, your
cables running through
electrical.
your home. I mean, it might, if it's an old home and the electrical hasn't been updated in a while, it might not be quite as viable. It's worth trying, though. I would definitely suggest giving it a shot. But if it doesn't work out, I would go with one of our higher end systems to get the signal to go through those thicker walls. So you have some things to think about. Also, if you wanted to try Powerline and it didn't work, you could return it. I think our store has a 30-day return policy. And we just opened a store, an online store in the UK. It has launched. So you have, I don't know the URL, but we do have an online store in the UK now. So if you do want to try something, isn't Powerline a little quality issues? Yeah, there can be quality issues with it, which is why I mentioned, if you have an older,
and that's mainly due to whatever wiring that you do have.
Yep.
Older wiring tends to not take that signal as strong. So that's something to take a look at, and then go from there.
Yeah. So I'd give it a shot because it's also going to be a cheaper solution. So in that case, you would want to run your power line. Oh yeah, he's got the link to the UK store there. You would want to run your power line to either a satellite or a access point. You could use a business access point. I think those are really the two things you'd be wanting to run it to. So yeah, give that a shot. Let us know if you have any more questions, and we'll try to answer them.
Hey,
Okay.
Alex, I wanted to move up. I'm not sure if we went from Dong Seb. I think we went down to Hamai. I just want to make sure we got Adrian
Oh yeah.
and also
Yeah,
you guys are
okay.
still
I
here.
think we missed, yeah, we missed those. Okay, sorry. So Adrian, any recommendations for a Wi-Fi 6 desktop networking card? Intel AX200 and 201 seem to be the dominant one in the marketplace, but I've had nothing but connectivity issues with it. I don't have a suggestion, unfortunately. I have been
Yeah,
looking
I
into
don't.
a Wi-Fi 6 desktop card for my computer because I am looking to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6, but I haven't bought any yet. So I don't know if anybody else here has bought one.
No,
It's
not yet.
I think it's a great idea to submit to our idea exchange board. That's something that we have in the community. And if it gets enough upvotes, it will be seen by the product team. Personally, for me, I still actually use wow, I can't remember it, but it's the Nighthawk. It's the USB.
Oh, Angela, I think he's referring to like an integrated card, like that you put
Yeah.
into like a motherboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only one that if you're trying to stick with Netgear, I think it's the only one that we do offer in terms of being able to get one. I mean, yes, it is external. That's the one I personally use, and it still connects to my Wi-Fi 6 router totally fine. But yeah, at the end, I don't think we are currently offering anything, but I think our product team would love to hear it. So that's kind of my suggestion.
Cool. Okay, so next question comes. Just to follow up with Adrian, I would honestly go on like Reddit or something and see what people are suggesting. Or you could even ask our community and see like what people have used within our community, like Angela mentioned. Okay, so a question from Jason. Apologies for missing your question. Hello guys, coming from Vegas. I have an XR500 router with a CM1000 modem. I feel like my ping's set to his ping is set to 30 milliseconds on strict mode, and it doesn't work properly in console gaming. Could it be an ISP problem? There's a lot of information that could be extracted here. One is,
Yeah.
what game are you playing? A lot of these gaming related questions, your system is only one piece of the pie. You've got the server that you're connecting to, you've got your ISP. So yeah, what game are you playing?
And are you connecting to games that are, a higher ping than 30 milliseconds? I know that like I have, Call of Duty set to low ping, under 30, but due to, space, connectivity, how many people are connecting at the same time, I sometimes get hit in larger, um, lobbies than that.
Mhm.
So yeah, it could be a multitude of things. Does the strict mode not work on everything, or is it just on one particular game? There's a couple things that it could be.
Totally. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a
All right.
shout out from. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Angela.
So Jason, just to help you out, there are a couple things that you wanted to ask Alec. Mind drilling that down? Just like even for me, I kind of forgot. So just so Jason could follow up, we could get you
Oh,
the
he
right
already he
answer.
already mentioned he's playing games like Destiny and Black Ops 4. So I believe those
Yeah,
are server-based games.
those are server based.
Yeah.
It could be just it could be their servers and their lobby.
Hmm.
If they don't have a game that's under 30 milliseconds, you're not going to connect to it.
Yeah. So I think with the kind of constraints that you're setting, you don't want to be connecting to a game that has less than 30 milliseconds of ping speed. That's going to work really well with peer-to-peer connections. You're only going to be connecting to peers that have that low connection or that low lag. But if you're using a game that's server-based, you're kind of stuck with what's the lowest ping server, and you have less options to refine. So if a server isn't below 30 milliseconds latency, um, it's just not going to work. There's just no option for your router to filter. He follows up and says he also has to reboot his XR500 every day because it doesn't recognize my PS4 and PC. Are there any firmware suggestions you'd have for that, Darren?
For what now?
His
Oh, he's having to reboot again. I would, where are you placing your router? Don't put it in a cubby hole. It does need to breathe. That does, overheating. It's number one case for having to reset. Also, um, having to reset it every day seems a little much. I can see why, PS4. We've talked about that video or that networking card on the PS4, but your PC should be connecting. So yeah, I would, if you could follow up and let me know where you're placing that router. That could have some issue with it as well. Good grief! Sorry about that.
No worries. Another thing that I always suggest, this is something I suggest every week, is if you can hardwire, you should be hardwiring. It's going to be taking devices
Yeah.
off of the, the bands on the router, and you're going to be directly connecting to the router versus having to connect to a Wi-Fi signal, which is going to give a bigger slice of the pie to everything else in your house that is connecting wirelessly. And with gaming being something that really takes a lot of bandwidth, it's really a good idea to be hardwiring all of your gaming devices. So
It's a much more sensitive. It's not big bandwidth. It's just a really highly sensitive bandwidth. One test that I would do is plug your PS4 in, and if you're connecting we've talked about how the PS4's Wi-Fi card's not awesome, but if you mount it top wall, okay, that's probably
that
good.
should be good, yeah.
I would hardwire your PS4 and see if you can, even if you're running a giant ugly cable, just to make sure that in that 24-hour cycle, if your PS4 is still connected, yeah, it's hard. Okay, you're hardwired as well, but it's not. That's really weird that it's not.
Yeah, something I might
That
suggest
it's not
doing in that
recognizing.
case is firstly, double check that your firmware is updated to the newest firmware. And then secondly, I would even try resetting your modem. Like Darren mentioned, it could be an ISP issue.
It could be.
There's a lot of players when it comes to a home network, and it might not even be a router issue. Typically,
Yeah,
those
I've been having to
XR500s.
reboot. Only recently, I've been having to reboot quite often, both my modem and my router, because of some signal instability from my ISP. So there is, it could be a couple things.
Yeah, I've been having to reboot a little bit as well when I moved into this new home. So, um, yeah, I would definitely try rebooting your modem, update the firmware. I mean, those are really the things that you can do. Some of it might be out of your control with an ISP issue. So give those a shot and let us know what happens. We'll be here for another 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. We have a suggestion from Armin to the person asking for the internal desktop Wi-Fi card. He suggests a solution from Asus, however you say it. Thank you for helping each other out. We love to see it.
Mhm. And I think I cut you off on that one shout out I think you were about to say, but I did want to shout out Postir. I believe I remember you from also another virtual event, but yes, we appreciate the likes because I checked the stats. This event only goes out to a portion of our subscribers, like around 10% or so. So the more people that like it, the more the YouTube algorithm will know that people enjoy this event, find it valuable, and as long as you guys are here in the chat, we're going to continue to be able to do these streams. So please leave a like. We always appreciate the good comments. We appreciate our regulars coming back, and we'll continue to shout you out. But yeah, again, we appreciate it. So thank you, Postir.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And then another shout out to Vanessa Kitty for coming back. She's always here for our streams, and we appreciate having you here. And let's see, it says that she has a sister-in-law that didn't consult on a new laptop. She is complaining about its slow internet connection. I told her she should have consulted because the NETGEAR R9000 is functioning quite well. Well, I'm glad you have confidence in your hardware, and you know that if there is slow internet, it is not your NETGEAR router, because that should be the case. It's funny, whenever anybody complains about internet in my house, I'm just like, you've got a problem because the router is solid. So I'm glad you have that confidence in the R9000. We have a question from Tech. I can't say your last. Well, regardless, in all caps, they ask, I called your company and they asked me to pay for security. Is it real? Yes, we do have a security service. It is not a free service. We collaborated with Bitdefender on that service, and it was a hefty investment, and it is a paid service. It's a great service. You get email updates about what it is specifically doing to protect you from cyber threats. It is a collaboration with Bitdefender. They're leading the cybersecurity game. We do occasionally do live streams with them, and they are incredibly knowledgeable and incredibly passionate about online security. So yeah, it is not a free service for good reason. It's very, very powerful.
I also want to touch on, since this question wasn't completely clear, when you say you called our company, if you Googled a random number on the internet that says NETGEAR, please don't call those numbers. We need you to go to support.netgear.com, scroll down the bottom and click the contact us link, because people call these numbers and they're scam links and then they ask you for money. So please make sure you're at the right place when contacting us.
Mm-hmm. So there's also some information in the description below on how to put in a support ticket. If you follow those directions, you will get in contact directly with our support team. Yeah, like Darren mentioned, that is something that just happens. It's like it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole. These spam links will just kind of pop up. I got to clean out YouTube comments. I got to clean out things I see on Reddit. But these people are just really trying to scam you out of your money. So yeah, please follow the directions in the description, and then that is your best bet to putting a support ticket.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That's actually a really good point. Could be just a scam number.
Could be.
Okay. Well, hopefully we answered your question, however the intended interpretation was. Next question comes from Adrian, who asks, I have an XR300, and when I activate QoS, my internet speeds drop from 1 gigabyte download upload to a max of 100 megabytes.
That sounds like a settings issue where you've set it so that way you're reserving 90% of your bandwidth for gaming. And so if you have one gig, it's going to only have 100 remaining because it's reserving 900. So take a look at your anti-buffer bloat, or as it's now called, the congestion control, and see how much bandwidth that you are reserving. Hopefully that would fix it, but it seems like you are reserving more bandwidth than what you should be. You should really only reserve about 15%.
Yeah. I was going to make the same point.
Which at 1 gig is 150 megabits per second, which is a huge amount.
Totally enough. My entire internet service plan is 150 megabytes per second, and we have multiple people that game here occasionally, and no issues. So yeah.
I reserve 50. That's all I reserve. So
50 megabytes per second
out of 600.
Not 50%.
Nope.
Okay.
I did have 50%. It gets more important the smaller your pipeline is. So if you have 20 coming in and 10 up, then I would reserve 50 of both of those, 50% of both of those. But as you have like a gig, you really don't need to reserve more than 10% of a gig, especially even if you have like 2 PlayStations or 3 Xboxes going at the same time. There's just no need, because gaming is so small.
Totally.
Hey Ben, just to follow that one up. So you're talking about the anti-buffer bloat, which is, well, now it's a new name. But you're talking about anti-buffer bloat settings, right?
Yep, which is in the QoS.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to the community article you wrote. It gets a little bit more information on what exactly that is, how it works, and also I think there might be some information in the thread on exactly what you should set your settings to. I'm going to post it right now.
There should be some good settings in there to get best possible speed. But yeah,
there's so much to tinker with the
and
XR
if you are still having issues, then they can come back. But yeah, that should get you, a good portion of the way.
Yeah, this is something that you could test out now and come back and report to us, because it's just a quick setting change and speed test. So yeah, definitely try some of these things out, and then we'll be here for a little over another hour. So we can continue to troubleshoot.
Yep.
Excuse me. Okay, so a question from Vanessa Kitty, kind of referring back to the armor point that I was making earlier. What company for protection is that? So we have partnered with Bitdefender. They are one of the leading cybersecurity companies. They've got a lot of software that is broadly used all throughout the world. And yeah, they helped us create a app and an integrated firmware on your router that it does a ton of stuff for cybersecurity. I don't have all the specific details, but every week you get an email, or you can choose not to get an email, but every week you get an email telling you specifically what it's done, like what attacks it has blocked, what malicious links it's blocked, what malicious emails it's blocked, all these kind of things. It'll filter out phishing emails and so on and so forth. So it's a great service. I personally don't have it currently. I do want it, so I can't speak to it too much. I don't know if anybody here has Armor.
Well, just to kind of speak to it, it's kind of like you can install antivirus on a computer, and then you can install it on your other computers. But what do you put on your Alexa device, or what do you install on, I don't know, your smart lights or your smart lock, right? So essentially, think of it as like pretty much a security solution, not just for your devices, but for your whole network. So it's baked right into the router, and then that's why it's able to do the things that it does. And that's what makes it different than pretty much anything else you could get on the market in terms of security solutions for your computer, your phone, or whatever. It's going to protect everything that's connected to your network. That's the cool thing about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's the best testament. I think something that's really, really big is IoT stuff, right? Sometimes you'll hear about these hacks that occur where people, print out a cryptic message from your printer. And I know I've seen in I don't know, I watch a lot of YouTube cult videos, cults will print out stuff from your printer. And that's something that you could block with Bitdefender, with Armor. And I think with the growing amount of IoT devices that people are adding to their network, it's valuable.
Yeah, with the more of the Internet of Things, there's more vulnerable points of where you have product that is out there connected to the internet. So there should be what's nice about it is you can protect all your devices within it, and
totally,
it's a really good feature, a really good product. It's on a lot of our devices, and I think it's going
every new router
every new
release
device
will have it. It's something that we have as a company mandated that it is applied to every new home router. So anything beyond this point is going to have compatibility with it. So
one more thing.
Sure.
Work from home. So a lot of us are working from home, right? And when you're at work at your office, again, this is for the work from home kind of folks out there, you're connected to a VPN the moment you step into the office. But here, I got 3 other roommates here. We're all we're sending out files into the void. But really, if you don't have any protection on there, you don't have that safety net that typically your office provides. So that's also something to think about. That's something of concern to you.
Totally. Okay. So speaking of VPNs, we have a question from DJ Markuson. Recommendations for a VPN on the XR700, considering Nord and Surfshark currently. We don't have an officially, NETGEAR endorsed VPN service. We don't have our own either, so we can say whatever we want. I personally don't use like any of the kind of consumer VPNs. Obviously, I have like a corporate one for working from home, but I know one of my roommates has NordVPN and he seems to like it, so I might give that a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, I would give any of those a shot. It really is like we don't have one that we've designated as the VPN, but whatever works for your price point and the features that you're looking for should work with the 700.
Hmm. Yeah, so just pick your favorite, whichever has the best critical acclaim. I'm sure you'll be fine. At the end of the day, they all pretty much do what they set out to do. So, cool.
Oh, we got to follow up real quick on that anti-buffer bloat question.
Yeah, we can go ahead and we actually have two follow-ups here that I want to address because I did miss your follow-up earlier, RM. But so first we'll do the anti-buffer bloat point from
Yeah, so
Adrian here.
70%. So that's reserving 700 megabytes when you have gaming on. Gaming is detected. It's reserving 700 megabytes, which is why you are experiencing a super huge slowdown. I would change that to 15%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
give that a shot.
It's not a giant worry for your download. It's really more of your upload. I would reserve more, but but yeah, that's why you're experiencing that slowdown. It's I'll admit a little bit. It's a little confusing because of what you would think. Oh, I want to reserve more, but you really want to reserve less.
Yeah. So I would suggest tinkering with that setting as well. And like I said earlier, we'll be here for about another hour, so you can report back and let us know if it worked, and if it didn't, we can try to make another suggestion. Okay, but I do want to address RM's question because I apologize, I did miss your follow-up earlier. He is asking about the MR 1100 DHCP settings, and if he can do that on an AT&T unit. You should be able to. The only difference with the AT&T units is that the SIM card is locked to AT&T, I believe. I don't want to.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
firmware is a little different between the retail just open version. AT&T has to approve our firmware, so their firmware is a little bit different. But they might have a couple settings locked down, but that one should be open to change.
Okay. Cool. So definitely he mentioned earlier that he did find the AT&T manual. So whatever you see in that manual should be fairly accurate to what your unit is. But so should be pretty simple, and feel free to try to figure that out now and we'll continue helping you. But a follow-up question that he had is, will I need to change any settings on the RBK 753S router? Will the instructions coming with the RBK work for me using the MR 1100 as a modem? Okay. No to your first question. It should work just fine. If the M1 is set in DHCP, it should basically be detected by your Orbi as a modem, and it should work okay. You might have to clear the MAC addresses, as Angela mentioned earlier. And will the instructions coming with the RBK with the RBK work for me? Yes, the manual should work just fine. I hope that answers your question. Got a little lost there, but you should.
It's all good. Like, once you really drill it down, once you are able to disable DHCP and have your have it just running strictly as a modem, your Orbi will just be able to just siphon that off that internet and then just be able to do its Orbi magic and then get you better Wi-Fi everywhere. So yeah, should be pretty simple. It's just that initial step on disabling the DHCP, and then after that you should be good to go.
Cool. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. RM, please feel free to follow up with us. Feel free to try this now if you have time. But feel free to follow up and we'll continue to help you out if necessary. Okay, so we answered the follow-ups. I do want to go back up and talk to Hamad about the difference between the EX7500 and the EX7700. It looks like Christian already gave some advice on some features, but just to kind of dissect the nomenclature of how we name our SKUs, those first two letters, EX, kind of indicate that it is a extender, EX. And then the number following it typically denotes the speed. Is that right, Darren? I'm getting that right?
Not with the
Not with the EX systems?
extenders. No. But they're both the same speed. The two he's comparing. Just the 7500's a wall plug with no Ethernet ports, and the 7700's a desk unit that has Ethernet ports to let you connect devices via wire. But they're pretty much essentially the same spec. It's just you get those extra ports on the 7700.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think the form factor, that's the first thing I would look at is, you know, are you looking for something that you just want to plug into a wall, you press a button, and then it all of a sudden, you know, it just starts working? Or do you want something where, let's say it's in your home office, you have a little bit more room on your desk, and you want to be able to hardwire your computer into the EX7700, or sorry, EX7700. You know, I think that's a solution that some people might prefer over something that's just a completely wireless solution, which would just be that wall plug. So EX7500 is the wall plug, a little bit simpler. EX7700, a little bit bigger, but you could use Ethernet and hardwire your devices to it.
Cool. Well, thank you for correcting my misleading information. I personally have a EX7700. I don't have it plugged in right now because my router is doing okay by itself, but it's great to have the Ethernet ports, that expandability. You can plug a switch into it and get even more if you'd like. So I would advocate for that, but if you don't need that much, you know, expandability and those many ports, save your money and just go with the, you know, 7500. Cool. Okay, we have a follow-up from RM who says, thanks, you guys are great. You're great. We appreciate you being here. The RBK arrives Monday night, so I may be back to you next Friday. I'm 73 trying to learn something new. Well,
Awesome.
we hope we're teaching you something new. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks. You know, and this is for everybody, no matter what your age is. Networking is not an easy thing to undertake. There's so many parts, so many little tiny things that can go wrong. I've been here for 3 years. I still feel like I know 2.5% of what Michael knows, and probably less than that even, if he gave me a quiz. But I learned something every single day. There's a lot of solutions. There's a lot of things that moving parts. You know, the only way is to kind of stick with it and kind of, you know, build off of that knowledge. So that's fantastic that you're you know, learning something new. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And also, I love to hear that you might be back next week. We love to hear that because that's what is gonna keep us running the show. Think of us as your virtual hotline. So, you know, you have us for a good amount of time every Friday. So really any questions, even if you want, you know, any more like, you know, you want us to go step by step, just throw it in the chat and then we'll help you out as much as we can.
Totally.
Josh, is there any way that you could send out a NETGEAR Nighthawk XR500 review of my YouTube? You were about 2 years too late, my friend. There are a ton of reviews already out there, so we're probably not going to send a review. But that being said, find me on Twitter at ZarduBen and give me a DM, and we'll see what we can do. But let me know what your viewership is on YouTube.
Boom.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it looks like we've caught up. I do want to shout out Vanessa Kitty, who says that she learns from the show every week. Even a knowledgeable person, somebody as knowledgeable as Vanessa, learns from the show. So
Yeah,
we're glad to be sources of knowledge.
and we learn something about you every week, Vanessa, and it's just like it blows our mind. Like, you know, I programmed this, and it's like, what? That is crazy. So
Awesome.
I liked I forgot who it was, but last time I was hosting, somebody coded the
Yeah,
lighting
if you're seeing a
sequence.
massive slowdown like that, it's usually because that anti-buffer bloat is switched in reverse. So you're reserving 70% when you really want to be reserving only 30%.
Okay, we have a question from Joel. Yeah, Joel, feel free to ask your question. We're here to answer it. Okay, I think we have caught up until Joel answers his question. So Angelo, I did ask earlier for you to come up with some filler questions, and
Filler question.
I look to you now.
Aha.
I thought one. It's a deserted island question, but you're on a deserted island and you can only bring one thing that's on your desk right now. What is the thing you're gonna bring?
Probably my Switch.
Then
Oh, I know.
which Switch?
I know.
Nintendo Switch.
I'm on a
Heck
deserted
yeah.
island.
I was
I'm gonna bring these boys.
Sunglasses.
So I can
I
just
just
chill
think
on
we're
the
not
beach.
I thought you were gonna bring like a networking switch. I was like, oh, okay, that's
Wow.
interesting.
I have an inflatable boat on my desk.
Yeah.
Emergency life raft.
Emergency. That's so strange that you asked that. On my desk. Damn it. I don't have anything much except for this harmonica. So
Honestly, harmonica is not bad.
yeah, I'd have to take
Keeps
it
you
apart and I
occupied?
can make a fish spear. You know, I played enough Subnautica that I could probably turn this into a couple of different things.
I'm bringing this. I'm gonna just bring a hydro flask. I could whack things with it. I could store my water. It's so versatile.
That is
That is
a poor choice. I'll be the
A
first
poor
to say it.
Best choice out of anything
I'm
else.
actually going to go with the
It's a
second.
limited choice. It's
Yeah.
on the desk.
It's on the desk. I have a second choice. I don't know if it's blanking this out. It's my Yeti microphone.
Blunt
Which
object
I could then
approach.
a blunt object, but I could also take it apart. You got magnets in it. You've got other things. So
Ooh.
Interesting.
MacGyver.
I'm thinking MacGyvery.
We have a lot of blunt object approaches, which, to each their own.
Everyone in the chat, let us know. Vanessa Kitty, she's bringing her whole coffee table. That's pretty usable.
RM is bringing his grandkids' photos. That is
Nice.
so wholesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, what do you guys have on your desk? You give us a couple answers out there. We might be able to put together a podcast. If we have enough stuff. I'll bring the mic.
Clip everything together.
Cool. Okay, so in the meantime, the duration of our filler question, we did get a follow-up from Joel. My modem is putting out 1 gigabyte. When I connect my modem directly to my Mac, I do see 900 megabytes per second speed. But when I use my AC router, I'm not getting that speed. It stays around 150 megabytes per second. That is going to be because, well, I guess I would want to follow up on your question. Are you hardwiring to your AC router? If you are, that is a strange discrepancy, and you shouldn't be seeing, a reduction in speed unless your router is very old. But if you are connecting to it wirelessly, the reason you're going to be seeing slower speeds is because one, you're on a somewhat lower spec AC router, so it's just not going to perform as highly as a wired connection. There's a lot of factors that can affect your wireless connection. You have walls, you have, is it next to a fish tank? That's something we learned recently on the show, is that fish tanks can slow down your wireless connection. You have microwaves that can slow down your wireless connection. A lot of factors that are going to make your wireless connection from your AC router less quality than a wired connection. So, if it's becoming an issue, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, there is a lot of environmental factors. Anything that's generating an electromagnetic signal definitely throws it down. And AC 2600 is actually an older router. So
yeah.
Well, my other question is it a modem router combo? Do you have it bridged to modem only? it could be a double router issue that's causing
Could be a double NAT issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that nothing torpedoes your performance like a double NAT, because it's basically confusing the signal. Yeah, it's a dual, like, you should be getting a lot faster speed than that. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
a lot
I mean,
faster. Yeah,
it also
like
it
something's colliding.
it could also be just the age of your router. I know that the AC 2600 spec is a little older. It's something we have, I don't know if we still produce something at that spec now, but if it's an older router, it could just be at the end of its life. These chips do degrade over time. It just depends. So let us know what the scenario is. We can try to help you out a little further if you can give us a couple more details there.
Yeah, something that would help in terms of follow-up. The number of devices that you got currently connected to it, even things like your Chromecast we learned over the show sucks a lot of bandwidth. Even your phones, like downloading Snapchats when you're not even realizing it, that sucks up bandwidth. Let us know the number of devices you have connected. If you're hardwiring your Mac directly into the router and checking that speed, or if it's completely wirelessly, what are those hardwired versus wireless speeds? Even the square footage of your house, the closer you are to the router, I mean, obviously you're going to get better speeds, but hey, maybe you just need something that's a little bit higher spec to support that gigabit speed.
Also, if he's just talking about this being wireless speed slowed down at 150, I don't know if you guys heard this before, but when you have a wireless network and you have, say, an old Blu-ray player with an old Wi-Fi chip, your network's going to run as fast as your slowest device. So if it's using an older Wi-Fi standard, it'll bring that whole wireless band down to that speed.
I did not know that. Wow.
And he bought it for gaming. He said that it says that it's the best for gaming. It was a while ago. It's an older one. Nothing that's connected, just my Mac. Yeah, that's weird.
So if you just bought it, to put it bluntly, it was the best, but in 2016. So there are things that are a little bit more higher spec, especially for gigabit speed. But yeah, even like it would still help us to get a little bit more information out of here. I also do have, it's within the return window. There's still a chance, you can still reconsider.
Yeah.
It's still solid, but for gigabit speeds, it's a little, you're kind of bottlenecking yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I would actually. What's a Wi-Fi 6 that's in that same price range? It's about $100.
So this is why I always suggest Wi-Fi 6. Is our Wi-Fi 6 range is ever increasing. We're filling in the gaps in our range. So you should be able to find something, within your budget that is a Wi-Fi 6 device. And I would suggest switching to that if you're able to. If not, I would say do your best to optimize your setup. Put your router in a very open spot. Update the firmware. Make sure your cables are new. New cables are always helpful. Those do deteriorate over time if you're using a very old cable. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things you can do to optimize.
For just $20 more, the AX4 will blow that out of the water. I would move to Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah, so
here, I'll drop a link to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to, Joel, thanks for your note.
Thanks. I know it's not the answer that you're gonna want to hear. But also, that just goes to show, like, even us, we're like, if you want to get that performance out of it, you're not gonna get it out of that one. And I would rather have you take it back, get a different one, and be happier. The REX 40, it's about the same price, and it will run circles around that.
Yeah. Okay. So we are stacking up a lot of questions here, so I do want to address some of those.
Sweet. Let's start knocking
Hope
them
we
out.
can help you out. Hope that helped you out, though, Joel. Scott says, were you able to see my question? We did not see a question, Scott.
No.
Please re-enter it, and we'll address it. Okay. It says Jason here is trying to factory reset his router. Christian, if you're watching, can you please link him the KB article for how to do factory resets? But in
on
short,
AX or XR500.
Did he say it was an XR500?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's having issues with. At least I thought he was. Yeah. He needs to reboot. Yeah, because he's having to reboot it every single day. So he needs to factory reset, and then I would go to the latest firmware.
Okay. Yeah, we'll send you over a link to the factory reset KB article, and then you should be able to follow those instructions there. I have factory reset my XR500 a couple times, and it's not too hard of a process. Should be pretty doable. So cool. And then
I've done it a couple times. I actually have to do it this weekend because I accidentally locked myself out of my router because I'm also, it happens.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So the next question we have is from Hamad again, who's asking about extenders. Is the EX 7700 compatible with a Beats British Telecom Smart Hub 2 router? And sorry, Christine, I thought you were Christian. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, it's Christine.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's Christine. Welcome, Christine. Hamad, so our extenders, it could work. I don't know for a fact if it's going to work with your BT Smart Hub. Personally, we always suggest trying to switch to your own hardware. You're going to be able to, one, over time save money on if you buy your own hardware, not paying the rental fee to the ISP. You can calculate, down to the month exactly when you'll start saving money, and you'll be pretty surprised to find that it's probably sooner than you think it is. You did mention that you are in the UK, judging by the fact that you're using a British Telecom unit, so you might be using DSL, in which case you may be stuck with the VT unit just because we did mention earlier that we don't really sell DSL modems too much anymore. In the case that you are stuck with the BT unit, I would suggest setting it to bridge mode, which would effectively make it just a modem, and getting a router along with it, a NETGEAR router, and that's going to ensure your compatibility with the EX75 or 7700, a NETGEAR product connecting to a NETGEAR product. You'll know that will work. And looks like Christine said that Christian was here earlier. Okay, well, we did a little tag in, tag out situation here. Any other follow-up on the EAX?
Yeah, I was just going to follow up on here. Theoretically, as long as your smart hub is essentially emitting Wi-Fi that's, at least good enough, as long as the EX7700, as long as you're still able to get power from it, and you're able to connect to the same Wi-Fi network, it should work. But yeah, Alec is correct. In order to really be confident that you're in the best ecosystem you can be, our products all work better together. So recommend owning your equipment, but if not, it should work. But if you have problems, just again drop it here, and then we'll help you out.
Okay, and we have a point from David here, which is news to me. In the UK, ISPs generally don't charge rental for modems / routers, just the line / speed. That's interesting because they do in the US.
That's pretty cool.
We live in a society.
We're the ones that are.
Well,
they must have a better FCC than we do.
Exactly.
Well, in that case, I would suggest getting a NETGEAR. Well, if that's the case, just get the extender and see if it works. If it doesn't work, you can add the router. You have a very safe scenario there. Okay, we have a let's see. Jason, there was a KB link sent for how to reset your XR500. Give that a shot and see if that works for you. And then a follow-up here from Adrian, who has an issue with our answer. His friend has the XR500, same internet speed, same anti-buffer bloat settings, but his speed is normal, no speed drops. So why is that? You could be getting a bug. I would suggest restarting your router. See if that fixes it. But everything we suggested is
Yeah, if you know, that's interesting because you know, is it well, one, is it the same exact settings? Does he have it where it's only on when he's gaming? With that, I don't have an answer for that, but typically that shouldn't be really happening. So one thing you can do is always, check your firmware. See, it could be a bug or a corrupted firmware. You might want to just reinstall the latest firmware.
Yeah, I mean, if ever there's a bug, it is worth doing a factory reset. If you're at your wit's end, what's nice is with the factory reset, if you set your SSID and your password to the exact same thing that you had before, your devices will automatically reconnect, I believe. That's how it's worked for me, but might be different. Regardless, yeah, give that a shot and let us know. The KB article for how to reset your router is linked above. So, okay, so Hamad says that he is running fiber to his home. If you're running fiber but you're using a DSL, I would suggest switching providers so that you can take advantage of that fiber, or contacting your current provider and seeing if you can be sent the proper modem to start using the fiber, because a fiber connection is going to be significantly better than the ADSL. So if you boil my answer down, find a way to use your fiber connection. That's really going to help you with speed, and it'll help you maximize the money you spend on our products, because our products are going to work better with the fiber connection. Okay. Jason says that he's having an issue only with Ethernet and having to reboot with Ethernet. That is a very curious
Have you tried
issue.
a different port?
I would, try different ports.
Or a different cable. Could be a cable,
Yes.
bad cable.
And you did mention that you're running to a PS4, which we have noted here on the show is renowned for having issues with internet. So might just be a PS4 problem.
So yeah, I would try a couple things. I would try get your hands on a new cable and try it in the same port. See if you have any of the same issues. If you're still running into issues, try it on a different port, but still using that new cable, and see if you still have the same issues. Again, just trying to kind of be able to diagnose it in terms of the cable, the port, or even the client device. So
yeah,
I would
you're
just
gonna wanna you're just gonna want to knock out what could be the problems. Like Angela mentioned. So, okay. Question from Nick, who asks, I have a C6300. After a day or so of operation, there is a very large delay before the full display in my browser. After a reboot, the device presents this page very quickly. What would be causing this? Is this issue arising when you're trying to access the portal, when you go to routerlogin.net? Is that kind of what you're referring to? Because if you're having an issue with your display, he says no. Nick, can you let us know exactly when this issue is occurring? If it's a display with your screen, that's not something that we can attribute to your router. But if you're having a problem accessing the portal for the router, that's definitely something that we can try to address. I think he was responding to Dave there. Yeah, okay.
I think the idea here is that, according to how I interpret this one, you have a full day of work, things are loading okay, and then at the end of the day, it'll hang up. So you'll try to load a page, maybe it'll load forever.
I think he's referring to, it says he's referring to the portal here, I think, when he's trying to access the portal on router login. He said yes to my response there.
Nick, let us know what you're trying to access.
Yeah, let us know what you're trying to access, so just so we're super clear. Okay. it is the screen. Which screen
Is
particularly?
it the computer screen or is it a web page? That's what I'm trying to think.
If it's a web page, we can help you. If it's your computer screen, that is beyond our control. Your router is not going to affect the performance of your screen, unless you're referring to how fast the screen loads things. Nick, what are you logging into? Are you logging into the router login? It sounds like to me you're having issues with loading the portal for your router. And just a heads up, you mentioned sometimes it loads very quickly and sometimes it is, okay, yeah. So you're saying sometimes it loads very quickly when you log in and sometimes it doesn't, is kind of what I'm getting at. That could just depend on how much of a load the router is under. If you have a lot of people streaming something and you're trying to load the portal through router login, it's going to take more time because the processor is spread a little thinner. But if you're still able to access the router admin page, there shouldn't really be much of an issue here. If it's just a concern about how fast it's loading, I wouldn't worry about it. If you can't access it at all, then then there's a problem. If there's an issue with loading it in general. And we would probably suggest rebooting the router or resetting the router, although you did mention that it's brand new.
I still want to place money that he's running into a browser hangout. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, is it loading? Is it working? If it's not working, there's a problem. If it won't load at all, there's a problem. But if it is loading and it's just taking a while, there's no problem. You shouldn't sweat that too much. Jason followed up. I clicked on UPnP and it's working now. That's so weird. That is weird, Jason. I don't know what that stands for. That sounds like a Michael question.
Yeah.
It sounds like, honestly, like half of the things that I ever run into are from things like that. I just click on a checkbox and all of a sudden it works. And, that's kind of like the thing here. Just traditionally where I'm coming from, it was always this intimidating thing that you kind of had to navigate, in terms of setting up your router and your modem. It has gone easier. Now we have apps to help you set it up. We're here live streaming to you guys where you can get direct help from us if you ever need help. When I was a kid, that wasn't really an option. So sometimes there are these little things, especially in the networking world, all these different terms that might just kind of be that one little checkbox that you have to untick. It's just the years go by, things get easier, but there's still things that are left over.
Yeah.
Sometimes we gotta.
Well, regardless, we helped you out.
What he enabled was universal plug and play. It helps the network be able to tell devices that they can recognize each other easier. So usually it is recommended to have that enabled.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that works for you, Jason. Feel free to follow up if something is going awry, but I'm glad that something worked out.
Nick may need to maybe reflash the firmware on his router. It could be a firmware issue if he's updated firmware recently and it didn't load properly, or maybe he just needs to factory reset the unit and set it up again.
Yeah, I would definitely say try to update it. Something that you could do, and it's a service we've been working on a lot, is try using the Nighthawk app on your phone. See if you're able to access it more quickly with that, and you can even perform an update via the Nighthawk app. If it's loading quicker, that might even be a better option than using the browser portal. So try the Nighthawk app, see if it works, and see if you can update the firmware.
Yeah, it's still my hunch that he's kind of reaching into these things where we even addressed it earlier in the show. These reboot things where you reboot it and then all of a sudden it does work. So it seems like in case of Jason's, he was able to kind of edit something in the settings. But before we even did that, we recommended to reflash that firmware. So highly recommend doing that. Start from a fresh kind of a fresh device, and then after that we could kind of be able to diagnose it a little bit further.
Yeah, Yeah, so yeah, I would just suggest trying to update it from the app. And I think the app is just a better experience in general. Personally, I like the app more than the web um, GUI. I didn't realize that GUI was GUI until like last week.
Is this one of those things I learned just today?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I was just
I'm
like, why are you guys calling it that? And then I like saw like GUI and I was just like, oh.
It was like doing like
Yeah.
caramel.
Graphical user interface.
Well, because we always talk about like internally we talk about like the stickiness of an app, how often somebody's opening
Oh.
the app. So I was like, oh, maybe that's what they're referring to. I'm not very smart.
I'm
GUI. Oh, wow.
yeah.
You thought it would work for a candy company then?
Yeah. See, Vanessa Kitty gets it.
Yeah.
And Vanessa Kitty advocated for our Nighthawk app. So thank you, guys. It really is. It is how we want you guys to interact with the products. It's so much more usable, so much simpler, and so much more accessible. You know, your phone is something you've always got on you, and you know you're just tapping away on it instead of trying to dig through all these different menus and settings. Really, we do think it is a superior way to interact with our devices at a surface level. You know, if you do want to dig really deep, you're still going to need to use the GUI. So
Mhm.
I'm blown away by that. I'm blown away by that you just learned GUI.
oh,
I'm stunned. I really am stunned.
I just
Raymond,
you
that
know,
was wow.
I just never knew. What can I say? All right.
That was the
Well,
first time I got motivated to show. That it was from that. It was from this, man.
we have DJ Margason, who is another punch card user. We didn't have the GUI with punch cards back in the day. We've got Vanessa Kitty and DJ Margason, who are punch card users.
I can't even imagine punch cards.
Me neither. All right. Is there a drawback when connecting multiple extenders to a Wi-Fi router network compared to just connecting a mesh network device? Yes. So it's really hard to explain mesh networks non-visually. So, I mean, I could pull up like a Microsoft Paint window and explain it, but basically,
Yeah, why not?
should I do that? Should we open up a little Photoshop window here?
Let's
Yeah,
let's see if this is accurate.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's go for it.
I only have my Chrome view here. Can I like,
You can change that.
is there like a website where I can draw?
You got to go to the scene, and then you got to right click the window, and then just redirect it from Chrome to
Yeah.
Paint.
Okay, hold on. Let me open a Photoshop
So
window.
go into the OBS's GUI.
This is live, guys. You guys are fine.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me create a new Photoshop window. Graphic design is my passion, so I can really show off some skills here. Okay, so let's see. We go to hold on, guys. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Let's show.
I love this because if we can make this happen,
All right.
Yeah, let's
we
All
can.
right.
We're
some
cutting
Photoshop
edge.
action. We got some Photoshop action going on here. All right. Welcome to my graphic design live stream. Okay, so we are going to draw some lovely animations here. So
I'm still seeing the good afternoon. Okay, there we go.
all right. Okay,
There we
so
go.
this is. Wait, that's kind of fuzzy. Hang on. All right. So this is your Orbi. That's what an Orbi looks like. Okay. And this is another Orbi. Yes, I am one of the two graphic designers at NETGEAR. Okay, so this is your router. Sorry, my Photoshop is glitched. It is bugged. Adobe, if you're watching, please fix my Photoshop. It is
Are you using the
infuriating me.
what one are you using?
Okay, sorry. I have to like.
I'm still using CC 2019.
These look like tombstones.
They do look like tombstones. Okay, sorry.
They kind of look like
it duplicates my text. Okay, so we're gonna make this.
Right.
This is gonna be a great graphic. So back to the.
They look like 2 sacks of potatoes. I'm not gonna lie.
They look great. I have an art degree. Okay, so you're gonna have with a mesh network. You're gonna have 3 bands going between the 2 units here, right? Okay, so you're gonna have, and then you're gonna have 2 bands broadcasting from each one, right? So you're gonna have, this is a horrible diagram. You're gonna have your 5 gigahertz and your 2.4 gigahertz. Apologize for the Photoshop glitches. I really wish Adobe would
You
fix them.
should color code those in different colors.
Well, I'm not the greatest with colors, so we're gonna not do that.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz.
That's a really weird situation to have your text duplicate every single time.
I
you
know,
want
it's
to,
really frustrating. I've been dealing with it for like a month, and it really, really,
That
really
seems a
makes
very,
me
very
mad.
specific error too.
Right. So if you'll notice here with this, and then you have 3 bands communicating between the two. This is going to be 2.4 gigahertz. Darren, please correct me if this isn't incorrect at all. 5 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz. So you're going to have 3 bands.
I don't have this pulled up yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you're in for a treat when you pull it up because it's looking real good.
I was
Okay.
actually trying to find you a topology tool to make this look cleaner, but I can't find a web one.
Well, you'll be pleased to see that
It
looks
kind
very
of looks
clean.
like one of those those things that like the muscle builder guys at Venice Beach, where they got the 2 springs, the 3 springs, and the 2 handles. That's what it kind of looks like.
I totally see that. Okay, so if you'll notice here in my diagram, there's a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz band broadcasting from each unit. And then there's a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz band. Actually, I've done this. Have I done this correctly? I feel like I might have
No, you only
drawn
have 3 bands.
No, I've done this incorrectly. Hang on here.
No.
Sorry about this. So with a mesh network, you're going to have, oh man, this was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done this.
Spot.
I really am on the spot here. Okay, so with a mesh network, how it's going to work is there's going to be 3 bands coming from each unit. The way I had it drawn there was 5 bands coming from each unit. So with a mesh network, you're going to have this dedicated 5 gigahertz band communicating only in between the 2 units. That's the only thing it does. It's a dedicated backhaul. And you have 2 bands for you to connect to with your client devices like your iPhone. Sorry, you can't see that. Your iPhone, broadcasting from each unit. With a non-mesh network, you're not going to have this dedicated band here. I think this is starting to make sense, guys. Please, this is a mess network.
Yep.
Sorry about that. But if you're going to have a non-mesh network, this 5 gigahertz band that you have here, that I've drawn so elegantly, is not going to be dedicated. So not only is it going to be broadcasting, but it's also going to be connecting between the 2. Sorry, this is not the greatest diagram, but it's not going to be a dedicated band. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be not only connecting to your client devices, but also communicating between the 2 units. So the ideal scenario is to have this dedicated band here, this dedicated 5 gigahertz band between the 2. So it's the communication between the 2 units isn't going to interfere with the speed of the other band. It's really hard to explain this. I remember when I first started interning, Angelo tried to explain this to me and it made no sense.
So what you're saying is you want for the best in communication with your extenders or your mesh, you want to run tri-band.
Yes.
Because then you can use one band as a dedicated backhaul, which will supplement the other 5G band and still run the 2.4. Now, if you are running a dual band to an extender, what you can do is only run the 5G, and I think the 2.4 then acts sort of like a backhaul, but it's not as efficient.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Another great option that effectively is going to make any dual band system kind of perform almost as well as a mesh system is if you're able to hardwire the router and the satellite, the Ethernet. You can replace this effectively, this 5 gigahertz band communicating between the two, with an Ethernet line, and then the 5 gigahertz band is not going to be negatively impacted by having to bear the weight of the communication between the two devices. That is effectively going to give you a similar performance from a dual band system. And that can be accomplished via a power line adapter. It can be accomplished by running a wire through your house. However you want to do it, that can work. So I apologize for my poor drawing, and I apologize for the Adobe glitches.
No, that was
but I hope that helped you guys understand.
that was
There's our graphics guy.
yeah,
I am our graphics
that's the guy that
designer.
does all our graphics guy. So
Okay.
You
Well,
saw it here first.
yeah, you saw it here first. This is what they hired me for. Okay, so
yeah, they're like draw Blippy the turtle, and he could, and so we're like, oh, good enough for us.
let's measure your pulse. Yes. Okay. So Hamad, I really hope that helped you out. If not, I apologize. Okay.
Essentially, backhaul is your dedicated lane for super fast traffic. But on the extender, imagine you are on a busy 2-lane highway when instead you could have taken the express lane. But the express lane is only available on Orbi, and that's what the dedicated backhaul is.
Okay. I don't know if I followed
Did I
that,
get that right?
but I trust Angelo.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Are radiation levels monitored on those two Orbeez? They may be close to the same reactor. They look like reactors, I guess. I like the mess network. That was funny.
That's probably the best comment all day.
Okay, I think the next actual question that we have is from Omar, who asks, will the NETGEAR Orbi run in the channel 156 and channel 3? That's striking me as a Michael question.
Yeah, that seems very much so.
I do believe you can tinker with the channels individually on the Orbi. If you're really into tinkering, kind of something that an analogy that we like to make with the Orbi versus the Nighthawk line is that, Orbi is kind of more like iPhone, and Nighthawk's more like Android. With the iPhone, it's more of kind of like a set it and forget it, simple, everything's easy to use. It's the Orbi is kind of Apple-esque in that way, whereas the Nighthawk is more like the GUI is more optimized for like tinkering, going into like specific settings and tweaking them. So if you want to dive that deep on a system, I'd go with the Nighthawk system.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael usually has a pretty good answer as to which channel you should be on.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had that answer.
It looks like
but
we
instead,
got a link in the chat that can help.
Yeah, I put that one in there. So that one kind of give a little bit more information on exactly what the difference between channel is, and then under what situations you should change the channel. To my understanding, you shouldn't change the channel unless you're receiving any direct interference, and if you are, then essentially it's kind of like trial and error as to improving your wireless connection there. But yeah, I just check out that link, and hopefully that is able to help you out a little bit more as to choosing which channel is best for you.
Cool.
Cool.
Hamad said he got the idea from my drawing. So, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you out in creative ways.
If you got the messaging across, that's fantastic. And And that's why he's in the visual arts department.
Exactly. You know, I'm here to produce interactive media for you guys.
Yeah.
So, um, cool. Vanessa Kitty says, make a night dragon system. I like dragons.
Yeah.
We
She
will.
also asked what broadcast software we're using to run this show.
We are
And
using.
we are using a complicated setup.
Yeah, I think I can probably drag it
Oh no.
over.
Are we gonna do another drawing?
Yeah, we're gonna do another drawing.
Like, oh no.
Wait, no, never mind. We're not gonna do that.
It's okay. Don't do the other drawing. We do OBS. We do OBS because we're able to kind of trade assets pretty easily. Where pretty much from system to system, it's pretty similar. I mean, you know, I would love to see our options as to improving our aesthetic. We love the feedback. We would love to know how we could make these shows better. Besides some impromptu drawings. So that we would love to see, and then we'll try to make it work because that helps us make these shows better.
Yeah, we're basically using Zoom and OBS. It's our OBS is open broadcast software.
Yeah, I don't think it's the most optimized for what we're doing, but it is what we were familiar with from the Twitch stream, so it does work. You know,
how do you apply to be a media specialist at NETGEAR?
Well, first you're gonna have to draw a diagram of a tri-band mesh system, and if it's better than mine, you get the job.
Hey, that's on the record.
Yeah, that's what that is. Oh my god. You know, we change over our media specialists by trial by combat. So.
Yeah, so you can come and fight me in the ring, and
so far Alec is 38-3.
It's a pretty solid record
with 28 knockouts. So he's got a solid record.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like we caught up on everything. I don't believe.
Well, actually,
no. We have one from RM. Yeah. Let's see. He says he is in the country, no DSL fiber, etc. I originally used the phone line, went to satellite now, and now the AT&T MR 1100 hotspot, as it was the fastest I could find. Any better suggestions? Now adding Orbi. Yeah. RM. Sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to say the 5.
Yeah, it's something that we have announced, and it's something that
coming soon.
We've been getting a lot of questions about it, and everybody always wants to know when's it going to come out. We don't know yet, and we can't say. But RM, if you do want to go to a full Wi-Fi 6 solution, the M5 mobile router is going to come out soon. You can Google it. I believe there are some publications about it.
Yeah, we announced that one back in January at CES. So, you know, of course, 5G is still rolling out. So stay tuned as to when the full launch will be. I also have another suggestion, which is the LBR20. I can drop also a link to that. That would be in the case that you eventually want to move away from just using the hotspot. In this case, this is an Orbi system that has a built-in slot to put in your own SIM card. So instead of needing the hotspot and the Orbis, all you need is one device, which is essentially the LBR20. So that kind of is like a 2-in-1 between the hotspot and the Orbi. All you got to do is just put in the SIM card into the Orbi, and then it should work. That's it. So let me drop a link to that actually.
I usually have one on stream, but I put it away. Yeah, that's a great
M5
solution.
is still coming soon. So
yeah, personally, RM, if I were you, I would continue to use the M1, and if you like it, stick with it. I think that's kind of just a general rule for me is if it's working fine, keep using it. I mean, there could be something better, but if you're not really suffering, yeah, it should be fine. But if the M5 comes out and you see how fast it goes and you're like, I really want that, I go for it. It's going to be a great product. It has everything and you could ever want. It's a 5G Wi-Fi 6 mobile hotspot. It's got the 2 cream of the crop technologies. So do you think there will ever be USB Type-C Wi-Fi 6 adapters for laptops? We should do that because I think we do well. That is a great suggestion.
That's a good
So
suggestion.
yeah, my story is so the one I was about to mention, the one that I personally used, oh my god, why can't I remember the name of the first product I ever launched as an intern, the A7000. That is one that I continue to use. It is a USB adapter, not USB-C, but it is on my desk to this day, and I love it. And just because I have a PC rig that doesn't have a built-in network card, that was actually, I don't even know what I would be using if I didn't have this device. So I would love to see more comments asking about the adapters, just because that has a special place in my heart. Because as an intern, that's one of the first things that I had to kind of do for the company was help launch the product. So kind of like early in the show, I recommend putting the idea in the idea exchange board. It's on our community, community.netgear.com. We get a lot of product suggestions, and then if you're able to get enough upvotes, the product team will see it. So we'd love to
Yeah,
see it, Dave.
I really do think that that is a fantastic suggestion, though, to have a USB-C Wi-Fi 6 adapter because, a big part about being in technology, Netgear being a tech company is releasing products with the newest spec. And right now it's USB-C and Wi-Fi 6, so I totally agree. That'd be a great product. And yeah, hop in the community. All right, question from Vanessa Kitty. How long can my Nighthawk router last, R9000? Well, it depends how you take care of it. If it's in a well-aerated, cool space and you are not running 5 million devices, it can last a really long time. We did have a viewer come in not too long ago who still had an N router, Wi-Fi
Yeah.
N, which is
Yeah.
ancient, and it was still working. So, yeah.
We do not make a USB-C, but we said that's a good idea.
I think she meant like a USB-C Ethernet unit. We don't make any Ethernet adapters, but there's plenty on the internet. I have one attached to my Mac right now. It is not Netgear branded.
Vanessa, just to follow up on the R9000 question, I think it depends on how long you've already had it. I remember, I think you have mentioned it on the show before, that you've had it for a few years, but that is actually probably one of our BPS routers that we have probably manufactured within actually my time here at Netgear. So it should honestly last a while. It should really last a long time. It was before all the Wi-Fi 6 routers came out. That was one of the highest specs ones. So should last you for a good amount of time, just based on kind of like the power that it has. So you should be set for at least 5+ years total.
Okay, we have a comment from George who says, never buy the Netgear modem router combo. Stay with the Nighthawk X6 or X10 and a separate Netgear modem. Yeah, we typically suggest getting dedicated units to serve dedicated purposes and so that you can upgrade them individually rather than the entire unit. However, there are a lot of people who just want a kind of one and done solution. So, we do sell the Netgear router combo. People buy it, but personally, we would suggest what you suggested. Just depends on who the buyer is.
Yeah, exactly. Different people, different preference. Some people do like the convenience of the gateway. Some people actually don't really even care. Maybe they're in like a small apartment or something like that. They just need something super simple. They don't have a lot of devices. The gateway actually ends up working really well for them. But for people that might live in larger homes, maybe have more folks living in that home, a lot more devices, yes, a separate router modem will perform a lot better in that kind of environment. So really kind of depends.
Yep, cool. I think Dave has a question asking about the Ethernet adapter for the Mac. I believe that's what you're asking about, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many on the internet. Just any kind of USB hub. I can't show it to you because it's plugged in right now, but it's just like I can take a photo and then like show the photo. It's just one of these guys. It's like a little, oh gosh,
Oh, no.
there you go. It's just like a little like hub. You can find tons of them on the internet. And you can see my Ethernet cable is plugged in there. So, yeah. Ricky says, my oldest router that still works is older than any of the guys on this panel. Well, if it's that old, it's probably a NETGEAR router.
Yeah. Or it's a yeah, and it's probably definitely an older Wi-Fi, but that's amazing if it's still running.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. I'll eventually connect the Nighthawk to my router hardwired. That's a great solution, Hamad. I definitely would suggest hardwiring whenever possible. Marcial Contreras asks, I've had the CM 1200 since June 6th. My ISP tech keep changing the cabling from the pole. I've been rebooting it for a week. Help. If I don't have the greatest suggestion for this, I think Darren, you probably know best for this one.
Yeah, do you have any type of cable splitters connected to the modem? If so, you could try to remove it. Like sometimes you have a bad splitter in the house that's connecting a cable box and a modem on the same line. See if that resolves the issue, or you just may have to get that tech back out there to check everything again. They might have overtuned the signal and it could be too high or too low. It's very, it has to be within a specific range to work right.
Yeah, unfortunately, with home networking, you are, you got to deal with your ISP no matter what. So, if your modem was working earlier, like Christine has mentioned in the chat, it's definitely something that happened with your ISP, and you have grounds to call them and, try to get a tech out and see if they can help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might even be something where you gotta reactivate the modem with the ISP.
That's what I was going to
Make sure
suggest.
that it's reading correctly. I know it's sometimes a pain to like call them up, or usually actually what I've done is like just use the internet portal. But it really kind of just depends on the ISP. But really just kind of making sure that, hey, they just got to know you're using NETGEAR equipment, and they should be able to activate it on their end. In case of any kind of more issues. But let's say you did call them and you still run into issues, please, we'd be happy to help you out during the show, even for next week, in case we run out of time today.
Cool. Well, everybody, we're boiling down to the last 6 minutes here. We're almost done with the stream. First and foremost, thanks to all you guys who have tuned in. And if you have another question, we are great at rapid fire. So feel free to just submit as many as you need, and we'll try to knock them out as quickly as possible. But if there's no more questions, kind of the end of stream reminder, if you enjoyed the stream, please like it. It helps us, bring more viewers in and get the video to more of our subscribers, which is great. And we
And I'm going to say, click that little bell down there too.
Oh yeah, click the bell.
You know what? We are so close to 50K subscribers. Maybe you got to think of something fun if we hit the 50K mark.
Yeah, if we hit the 50K mark, we'll have more drawings.
I will do a dedicated drawing stream.
We'll just do Pictionary for 2 hours.
Pictionary, and that'll probably be the last stream you'll see with us. Michael Ellis,
the MVP.
Great job, team. He's a huge shout out. It was hard without you, but
we made it.
Hope that you're safe.
Yeah, everybody, send Michael Ellis your thoughts and prayers. He is the greatest of all time. Okay, we did get an actual question here. Can somebody please tell me what VPN is compatible with the XR700?
That's
theoretically
anything that's
any
open
of them.
VPN, I believe.
Yeah, anything that's open. NordVPN is one that I have heard good things about. Like I said earlier, NETGEAR doesn't officially endorse any VPN.
Can we tell a little bit about how hybrid VPN works? Is that available on the XR700?
It is. Hybrid VPN just allows you to select which applications you're going to have to go through the VPN and which applications aren't. So obviously your work stuff, anywhere where you're holding your work files. But like, Call of Duty doesn't really need to be behind a VPN. So it allows you to pick and choose.
Okay, we did get a couple rapid fire questions here. So Marcial said that it was working fine. Now I lose speed and connectivity. I would contact your ISP. If it was working fine and they've changed something and now it's not working fine, that is almost certainly going to be something that was caused by the ISP. So you're going to want to contact them and give them your full situation. Let them know what's up. Okay. Hi guys, thanks for this. This is from Richard Long. Thanks for this. For the Doom OS 3, would a possible feature be for network traffic monitoring to give a breakdown of WAN and LAN traffic?
Wait, quick question. If you're in the beta, put that as a suggestion in there and we probably might see it. We do have traffic controller that's part of the part of 3. And with that, traffic controller really, gives you the ability to take a look at where all those, all your traffic is. So I would, whether I haven't played around with it enough to know, it'll give you a breakdown, but it does give a breakdown of the LAN based off of devices.
So it looks like Richard is not in the beta. So
and
we can take note of that
we are
suggestion.
working on something. It's called traffic controller. We'll probably have a feature announcement on that fairly shortly in the next couple weeks. But yeah, it basically gives you a breakdown of traffic by device. Not so much of WAN, LAN, but definitely all of your LAN traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Hope that helps.
Yeah.
And I hope that if you're interested, you can still sign up for the beta.
Well, it is a closed beta, so it is. I know a lot of people that have signed up, months ago, still haven't gotten in because we're trying not to over flood the engineers, but it is taking you. We are adding more and more. I think Christine just reached out to you, Richard Long. If you have a NETGEAR community username, this could be your lucky day of the next 2 minutes. Because if you have it, it'll be added. But yeah, traffic controller.
Cool. So I want to address the last question here. Jump in Jimmy says Tor and Express don't work. We, as a company, do not want to speak too much to Tor browser. You need to find one that is specifically compatible with Tor. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Regardless of which you pick, it should be compatible with the XR700. VPNs are kind of something that go on top of your network. So it's really not going to affect your router is not going to be incompatible or anything. So
NETGEAR need to eat Linksys.
Need to eat Linksys.
Eat them.
Well,
we love competition.
Put that down in the suggestion box as well.
Eat Linksys. Linksys,
Yeah.
if you're watching, shout out Linksys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. All right, guys. Well, that takes us to the hour, the second hour here. So we are all done. As per usual, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love doing this. We love hanging out, drawing pictures, doing all that with our viewers. Shout out to all of our regulars too, and everybody who asked questions. We hope we helped you out.
If we didn't, we will be back next week.
Same time next week. Tune back in. If we gave you any advice here and you want to report back next week, feel free to do so. These are public streams, and we're happy to help as much as we can. So,
Perfect. Oh, one thing.
Thanks.
So, any of our regulars here who have been watching each of these streams. So usually I shout out that we're doing a virtual event every Tuesday. This Tuesday, we're actually taking a break. So please tune in on September 1st for our next virtual event. That'll be Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We got something really, really, really cool for Mural. So stay tuned.
And I'm just going to say you'll also want to tune in on the 8th of September, especially anybody that's a Nighthawk Pro Gaming person. We are going to have probably 2 humongous announcements. And that's all I can say. You heard it here.
Is here in this person.
On September 8th, 2 humongous announcements on the 8th. All right.
Put it on your calendar.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to end the stream now. We'll see you back here next week. Until then, take care, stay safe. Peace and love.
Like it.
See you later.